Alrighty, hello, good evening. Welcome back to the Law Entrance YouTube channel and to another session of the Hindu analysis. Today is 12th of May. It's a lovely Tuesday evening and we are live. I hope I'm audible, visible, PPT is visible, everything is good to go. Just give me a quick yes as an affirmation, then we'll start. Parth is here, Charmi is here, Shri is here, Arun is here, Saranya, Pratyush, Vishami, Haru, Aradhya, Prasuti. Good evening, guys. Very good evening to everyone who has joined in. Chalo, badhiya hai. Okay. Thank you for the confirmation. Shall we begin? Shall we start? टुडेज डिस्कशन आपके एलेट के सेशन के लिए मैंने बोल दिया टीम को मोस्ट लाइकली इस वीक हम एलेट पे एक करेंगे डिस्कशन where I would also tell you about your mock analysis in detail. So that would most likely be happening this week. ठीक है, बाकी मेंटी क्विज अपना करेंगे हम फ्राइडे को एज पर प्लान. एंड टॉपिक क्या करना है बताओ इस बार, आप लोग डिसाइड करो. लास्ट 2-3 बार से तो हम करंट अफेयर्स कर रहे हैं. What do you guys suggest as a quiz topic for this week, Friday? AILET was so bad this week. चलो करते हैं, सॉर्ट करते हैं उसको. जनवरी करंट अफेयर्स, ओके. पीछे से स्टार्ट करना फिर से. हाफ मे करंट अफेयर्स भी कर सकते हैं. फॉरेन अफेयर्स, इलेक्शन. यार इलेक्शन तो मोर और लेस 2-4 ही क्वेश्चंस बनेंगे उसमें, वो सारे मैं आपको बहुत बार बता चुका हूँ. मॉडर्न हिस्ट्री इज अ गुड सजेशन. Easiest AILET of my life. Okay. Someone's nightmare is someone's dream. Got 121. अरे क्या बात है. Kudos to you, Kavita. Very well done. That's an impressive score. Keep that up. Onwards and upwards. ठीक है. So we have 2 suggestions which I like. One is May current affairs. One is modern history. उसके बाद हम पीछे से स्टार्ट कर लेंगे जनवरी करंट अफेयर्स से. सो लेट्स वोट. ऑप्शन नंबर 1 इज मे करंट अफेयर्स 15 मई तक के, एंड ऑप्शन नंबर 2 इज मॉडर्न हिस्ट्री. 1 और 2 बता दो आप लोग जल्दी से. 1 इज करंट अफेयर्स, 2 इज मॉडर्न हिस्ट्री, एंड बेस्ड ऑन वॉट एवर डेमोक्रेटिक मेजोरिटी सेज विल मेक अ चॉइस. ठीक, just give me a 1 or 2 in the chat. 1 is for current affairs, 2 is for modern history. 4 में disappoint होने की जरूरत नहीं है यार. 1 bad mock is just fine. Everyone has that. No one has all good mocks in their journey. ठीक है, let me count 1 वाले responses पहले. This 1 2 3 4 5 6 responses for current affairs. 1 2 3 4 5 responses for modern history. Anyone who's left to vote? 1 is for current affairs, 2 is for modern history. ठीक है. Aradhya also says 2. So it's a 6-6 tie break. I'll use my tie breaking vote. अच्छा ठीक है, चलो आ गए अद्वैत और आर्यन के वोट आ गए. जरूरत नहीं है मुझे टाई ब्रेक करने की. So the majority wants to go for a modern history quiz. ठीक है, that gives me a lot of room to form a lot of questions. So I can even make a lengthier quiz for you guys. Maybe 20 questions, 25 questions odd quiz. ठीक है, मजा आएगा. मॉडर्न हिस्ट्री रिवाइज करके आओ. टाइमलाइन डिसाइड कर लेते हैं ताकि बहुत ज़्यादा आपको स्ट्रगल ना करना पड़े. टाइमलाइन वुड बी मॉडर्न हिस्ट्री के लिए कहाँ से पकड़े हम? आफ्टर अराइवल ऑफ ब्रिटिशर्स से लें या आफ्टर 1857 से लें? बताओ. देयर आर 2 generally accepted timelines as modern history. One is the advent of Britishers 1500 1600 से, या फिर do you guys want to do post 1857? पोस्ट 1857 और पोस्ट 1500? 1857 सही रहेगा ना? सही है, पोस्ट 1857 करते हैं. सो 1857 से लेके 1947 तक, दैट इज द टाइमलाइन यू गाइस वुड बी लुकिंग एट. उसी टाइमलाइन के बीच क्वेश्चंस पूछूंगा 1857 से लेके 1947 तक। प्लस ही तो फिर और पीछे चले गए ना, 1857 से करते हैं। 1500 is not modern. I do not mean 1500 precisely. What I meant was the first arrival of the Britishers. 1500 तो चलो मुगल एरा में चले गए हो, 1600s कहना चाह रहा था मैं। 1600s में फर्स्ट फॉरेन इन्वेजन्स तो नहीं कहेंगे, अराइवल ऑफ यूरोपियंस स्टार्टेड हैपनिंग। ठीक है, तो वही जहांगीर वगैरह के कोर्ट में जो आए थे, वहां से भी मॉडर्न हिस्ट्री कई बार काउंट होती है। चलो ठीक है, इट्स 1857 to 1947, दिस इज डिसाइडेड। फ्राइडे को करते हैं बढ़िया सा क्विज, तैयारी करके आओ, विल हैव फन विद इट। इजी क्वेश्चंस चाहिए आप लोगों को, मॉडरेट डिफिकल्ट, कैसा क्विज चाहते हो? इजी, मॉडरेट, डिफिकल्ट, जस्ट जल्दी से ये भी बता दो, तब तक हम अपना एजेंडा देखते हैं आज का। सो यहाँ पे इंडेक्स आई थिंक अपडेट नहीं हुआ है मुझसे, ऐसे ही दिखा देता हूँ। वन इज द डिस्कशन ऑन द VBG रामजी टेकिंग इफेक्ट ऑन 1st of July. Then this is an editorial on noise pollution, and another editorial on India-Vietnam strategic partnership. These would be the 3 points of discussion, along with the vocabulary for the day, like always. And with that, let's move to the newspaper and start our discussion for the day, folks. आज turnout थोड़ा कम है, कोई खास वजह? Where are the rest of you? Slightly lower turnout today. Are we clashing with something else? Yes, Charmi, 1857 से इंडिपेंडेंस 1947 तक। डिफिकल्ट, मॉडरेट, मॉडरेट टू डिफिकल्ट, मॉडरेट, ठीक है। तो मॉडरेट, थोड़े से क्वेश्चंस मॉडरेट रखेंगे, थोड़े से डिफिकल्ट रखेंगे। अच्छा, CUET की तैयारी चल रही है, ओके, कूल। गुड इवनिंग अर्शिता। Alright, चलो, I think the newspaper is now visible to you guys on your screen. This is, अरे यार ज़्यादा बड़ा हो गया, थोड़ा सा छोटा कर दो इसको। Yes. Okay, so 12th of May, Tuesday. Today's newspaper is here on your screen. This is the Hindu newspaper. Let's start off our discussion. India has sufficient stocks of fuel and commodities, says the government. This, of course, comes after Modi ji ki recent speech, where he said that we should cut down foreign travel, etc., etc. ताकि crude oil हमारा basically कम खर्च हो, सेट की फ्यूल वर्क फ्रॉम होम वगैरह करो। तो अब जो है क्लैरिफाई किया है मिनिस्ट्री ने दैट वी हैव इनफ फ्यूल एंड एसेंशियल गुड्स इवन दो द वेस्ट एशियन कॉन्फ्लिक्ट इज नॉट एंडिंग, and this was discussed in an informal group of ministers meeting chaired by our defense minister Mr. Rajnath Singh. And India currently has 60 days of crude oil reserves, 60 days of natural gas reserves, 45 days of LPG stock reserves for cooking in households. And foreign exchange reserves are also fairly strong. We have around $703 billion of foreign exchange reserves as of now, which helps us pay for all of this imported crude oil, stabilize the economy, absorb these global shocks in financial markets, etc. And government ka kehna hai India is one of the few countries where petrol and diesel prices have not increased sharply despite over 70 days of global tensions. But I have a feeling that the prices would very soon increase now that elections are over. I think elections was the primary reason why fuel hike did not happen. But let's see, let's hope it does not happen. अभी तो है ऑयल कंपनीज जो हैं बहुत ज़्यादा प्रेशर के अंडर है, दे आर बियरिंग हैवी लॉसेस ड्यू टू नॉट इंक्रीजिंग द प्राइसेस। अराउंड 1000 crores पर डे के लॉसेस चल रहे हैं लोगों के। सो या द गवर्नमेंट साइड बेसिकली हमारे पास सफिशिएंट कमोडिटीज़ हैं, तो पैनिक बाइंग करने की, स्टॉक पाइलिंग करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, सप्लाई चेन बढ़िया चल रही है। बस मोदी जी कह रहे हैं कि फ्यूल रिस्पॉन्सिबली यूज़ करो, वेस्टेज अवॉइड करो, कंजर्वेशन एफर्ट्स में देश का साथ दो। Similar thing is being talked about the article on the right, where opposition is criticizing the PM's austerity push, saying that this is admission of failure. कि ये कहना कि ये चीज़ें हमें ध्यान से यूज़ करनी पड़ेगी, ये गवर्नमेंट का फेलियर है। Where the government has suggested reduce fuel usage, foreign travel, don't buy gold, use public transport, work from home when possible. तो opposition का कहना है कि this shows that the government has failed to stabilize the situation. And he said that the PM is compromised, saying that the PM is still focused on election campaigns, rallies, roadshows, etc., etc., where priority should be something else. So basic political banter. That. What is chat saying? बोर्ड का रिजल्ट निकलने का डर है. Not out yet, but maybe nervous people. I'm sure it would be good. And if that is any solace, board ka results would not be very significant just after the result day. It's only relevant for the result day. उस दिन लोग कॉल करेंगे, पूछेंगे, आप अपना रिजल्ट बताओगे, पेरेंट्स खुश होंगे, आप सेलिब्रेट करोगे. बहुत अच्छा रिजल्ट आएगा तो कुछ रिलेटिव्स जेलस होंगे, वो भी सही है. बहुत अच्छा रिजल्ट नहीं आएगा तो कुछ रिलेटिव्स जो है कंपैरिजन करेंगे, ताना मारेंगे, वो भी सही है. ठीक है, इट्स फाइन. इतना ज़्यादा when I mean, of course, it is super important and relevant right now for you guys. It might seem like that, but speaking from personal experience, in hindsight, it seems like a very insignificant thing. So yeah, it's fine. It's just a piece of paper after the results have been declared. Just proof of your date of birth. That's what it boils down to. Unless you are planning to appear for MBA entrances or foreign university applications, then that definitely is taken into consideration. Your 10th scores, your 12th scores, all of that stuff. So yeah, if the journey for you guys would be around CLAT and the legal domain, then 10th and 12th scores don't really matter a lot, is what I would say. ठीक है. Good evening, Ruhi. Government is also paying 30,000 crore to companies per month for stable prices. Crazy amount of money wasted because Orange Uncle wants to play Monopoly. That's true. How is dealing with international conflict responsibly failing? अरे opposition का तो काम है ना, क्या है ना, government fail हो रही है. Found something strange. Live stream is 5 seconds behind on Android phone but accurate on iPad. That's interesting. Yes, I heard NEET got cancelled. My take on that is I don't understand how they managed to do it multiple times. JEE भी होता है pen and paper format में, CLAT भी होता है pen and paper format में. Those exams never get leaked. So that logic कि भाई pen and paper exam है इस वजह से leak हो गया, that is BS. I feel that they need to be more vigilant with respect to the security of the paper, with respect to the integrity of the exam. Because it really hurts me यार कि कोई स्टूडेंट एक साल मेहनत कर रहा है, कुछ कुछ दो दो तीन तीन साल भी मेहनत कर रहे हैं, एंड मे बी दे गॉट अ फेवरेबल रिजल्ट फाइनली दिस ईयर एंड नाउ द एग्जाम गॉट कैंसल्ड. कितने लोग तो छुट्टी मनाने चले गए होंगे, घूमने घूमने चले गए होंगे, एंड नाउ दे गेट द न्यूज कि भाई एग्जाम गॉट कैंसल्ड एंड दे हैव टू अपीयर फॉर द एग्जाम अगेन. दैट्स अ बमर. That really pisses me off, to be very honest. If I were in the shoes of those aspirants, I would be really mad right now. So unfortunate and really pathetic, I would say. They can do better, is what I would say. It's really sad state of affairs. So yeah, not my result, but I was scribed this year. Oh, nice. Let's hope the guy or girl you helped gets a good result. Friend did well, now she's crashing out. Yeah, it must be really irritating. Tokens being Modi ji, Trump, and others. Same here, she's depressed. Yeah. My heart goes out to people who would have to write the exam again. It's really stressful. Okay, data shows a slip in foreign spending by Indian tourists. इतनी जल्दी डेटा आ भी गया? कल ही तो बोला है मोदी जी ने, परसों. At a time when Modi ji urged Indians not to travel abroad and give up foreign weddings for a year, official data shows foreign spending by Indian tourists actually slid in the past data है, past 2 years. Past 2 years में वेस्ट एशिया तो ऑफ द चार्ट ही है, फिर आपका यूएस भी अनस्टेबल ही चल रहा है पास्ट 2 years से. तो फॉरेन ट्रैवल में बस कितना ले दे के आपका यूरोप बचता है, दैट इज ऑल्सो Western Europe is very overly commercialized and overhyped. So foreign travel, ठीक है, थोड़ा तो कम हुआ है, डेटा कह रहा है तो. Will you hear Trinmul please on SIR impact on Bengal polls is the Supreme Court. Mamata Banerjee को अभी भी उम्मीद है कुछ हो सकता है. But on the left hand side, you see this image, which is quite nice and quite rare to see in Indian politics. Ex CM is meeting the current CM. In fact, he called all of these political party. Vijay called all of these political party leaders at his residence to meet them. I don't know if they met at Stalin's residence, but Vijay was the one who called all these guys to meet. Okay, moving ahead to a split wide open in AIDMK, not important. VBG Ram G. This would replace the Manrega and would come into effect on 1st of July. We've already discussed the differences between the two. I'm sure most of you remember it. City-based news is not important, so we'll move ahead. State-based news में क्या है? Somnath में Modi ji is doing a road show. Okay, but not really walking the talk with respect to saving fuel. Okay. Modi ji recalls 1998 Pokhran nuclear test. Operation का नाम क्या था बताओ जल्दी से. What was the name of this operation where we did the nuclear test? Amrit Mahotsav, not only a commemoration of past but also a festival of inspiration. Siddharamaiah launches counter-attack, accuses PM of destroying dignity of post. Right. Telangana CM orders special team to probe POXO case against Bandi Sanjay's son. Okay. CM Vijay calls on Stalin leaders of other parties. Yes, I was just telling you guys. Statehood status के लिए मिले हैं उमर अब्दुल्ला हमारे होम मिनिस्टर साहब से, शाह जी से. स्टेटहुड की डिमांड कर रहा है जम्मू कश्मीर काफ़ी टाइम से. 6 शेड्यूल की डिमांड कर रहा है, स्टेटहुड की लद्दाख भी. देखते हैं मिलता है या नहीं मिलता, मुश्किल ही है मुझे तो लगता है. Modi's appeal for austerity and admission of failure. Only crisis for countries BJP, says Akhilesh Yadav. Okay. Hemanta Biswa Sarma would be the first non-Congress CM to be elected twice in a row in Assam. VVIPs would be attending the swearing-in ceremony. Okay. District court judges in Delhi grapple with rising threats and little protection. काफ़ी यहाँ पे क्रिमिनल एक्टिविटी चलती रहती है, कभी भी गोली चल जाती है किसी भी कोर्ट में. क्या चल रहा है यहाँ पे? Women judge at Dwarka court was verbally abused and threatened in open court by a man she just convicted in a 6-year-old check bounce case. He said, "तू क्या चीज है, तू बाहर मिल, देखते हैं कैसे जिंदा घर जाती." It's a very Delhi thing to say. But it's unfortunate that people are making open threats to a judge in court. But I'm not surprised. An officer described the present situation as बिल्कुल भगवान भरोसे चल रहा है. Wow. Delhi being Delhi. All right, what else do we have? आगे चलते हैं. AICC summons Kerala leaders to Delhi to finalize CM choice. इनसे CM नहीं फाइनल हो पा रहा है कांग्रेस वालों से केरला का. BJD asked Odisha CEO to reject votes of 2 BJP MLAs. ठीक है, nothing important for us here. Let's move to the editorial section. Chat box देख लेता हूँ मैं एक बार. Can you resume the analysis? What do you mean by that? Resume the analysis. We are doing the analysis. This is the analysis. Operation Shakti is the right answer. MSCT just हुआ, paper went well. Now motivation is dying for CLAT, even though ultimate aim is an NLU. Results for MSCT has not even out yet still not been able to. It's okay, take a couple of days off. That's fine. It is exhausting after an exam to come back to studies. So it's fine. Take a break, take a short break. 1 or 2 days, and then get back to study. अल्टीमेट गोल तो एनएलयू ही होना चाहिए. एमएचसीटी में बहुत अच्छा रिजल्ट आ जाता है तो कॉलेज ज्वाइन कर लेना एंड साथ साथ तैयारी कर लेना. ऑल द बेस्ट. आई एम ग्लैड दैट पेपर वेंट वेल. Yes, the first one was Smiling Buddha, second one was Operation Shakti. Absolutely correctly mentioned by Arshita. Judges in Delhi don't have PSO. सीनियर जजेस को तो मिलता है पीएसओ. आई थिंक सीजीएम लेवल से आपको मिलता है पीएसओ. जूनियर जजेस को नहीं मिलता है. दिल वालों की दिल्ली. यस, दैट्स करेक्ट. इन हरियाणा वी डू हैव, बट सरप्राइजिंग टू सी देयर आरंट एनी. हाँ, ऐसे ही है. अलग अलग स्टेट के अलग अलग रूल्स है. यूपी में भी आई थिंक नहीं मिलते हैं पीएसओ जूनियर जजेस को. आपको सीजीएम लेवल से मिलने लगते हैं. सीजीएम और डीजेस को मिलते हैं. डीजे मतलब डिस्ट्रिक्ट जज है यहाँ पे. टिक वाला डीजे नहीं. So yeah, those are the senior positions: chief judicial magistrate, district judge. But yeah, lower judiciary से अगर आप स्टार्ट करते हो तो आपको 15-20 साल लग जाते हैं मिनिमम टू रीच सीजीएम. ऑलराइट, आगे चलते हैं एडिटोरियल सेक्शन की तरफ. Enduring democratic message of रॉयल चार्टर. तो ये आर्टिकल बात करता है मैग्ना कार्टा की. द ओरिजिनल मैग्ना कार्टा which was a historical document signed by King John in 1215, and this article explains why Charles III mentioned Magna Carta in his speech to the US Congress, and how was that, politically and historically relevant. So Magna Carta essentially translates to Great Charter, and this was a document which was considered as the foundation of democracy, rule of law, rights of citizens, a constitutional government. And the core idea was the transformation of power shifting from a king to power shifting in the rule of law. So king is not above the rule of law was the core idea. King has to adhere to the rule of law as well, because उस टाइम पे किंग्स के पास जो है अनचेक अनसुपरवाइज पावर हुआ करती थी. एंड किंग जॉन उस टाइम पे 1215 was kind of unpopular and authoritarian, and उनके अगेंस्ट फिर रेबेलियन हुआ, एंड ही वाज फोर्स्ड टू एक्सेप्ट द मैग्ना कार्टा, द लीगल प्रोसीजर्स ऑफ इट, एंड देयर द ड्यू प्रोसेस ऑफ लॉ वाज enshrined. So famous principle which was quoted in the article from Magna Carta is that no free person can be imprisoned or punished unfairly without lawful judgment. And then this whole Magna Carta thing shaped up future regimes and modern courts and constitutional law and human rights systems and democratic governments worldwide. अब इस स्पीच में किंग चार्ल्स ने जो है मेंशन किया, एक सटल पॉलिटिकल मैसेज दिया, वेयर ही वाज इनडायरेक्टली रिमाइंडिंग लॉ मेकर्स दैट एग्जीक्यूटिव लीडर्स जो हैं उनको रूल ऑफ लॉ फॉलो करना चाहिए. दे आर अकाउंटेबल टू द लॉ, मस्ट फेस चेक्स एंड बैलेंसेस, एंड एक्सेसिव पावर जो है उनके हाथ में नहीं जानी चाहिए. This was a debate in US, which was about presidential authority, decisions of war, democratic institutions, basically what Donald Trump is doing. And yeah, he just used this reference, and instead of directly criticizing Donald Trump, he used history and symbolism to communicate कि भाई democracy is in danger. तो यही सारी बातचीत है इस आर्टिकल में. ठीक है जी. लेफ्ट हैंड साइड पे वी सी बिलेटेड वार्निंग. नरेंद्र मोदी सजेशंस टू इंडिया इम्प्लाई अ सीरियस इकोनॉमिक इम्पैक्ट. तो वही वार्निंग जिसकी हम बात कर रहे हैं, फ्यूल कंजम्पशन, नॉट परचेसिंग गोल्ड, नॉट डूइंग फॉरेन ट्रैवल. That is the context, because of the rising global prices, and the editorial here is criticizing the timing of this message. They're saying that this came immediately after election campaigning, where leaders, throughout the campaign traveled extensively by air, by road, and after they got their favorable results, now they are asking people to, abstain from doing these things. एंड बार बार ये भी कह रहे हैं कि कोई टेंशन की बात नहीं, देयर इज नथिंग टू वरी अबाउट, एंड फिर टेंशन दिए भी जा रहे हैं बोल के कि ये मत करो वो मत करो. तो एडिटोरियल इज सेइंग कि इफ द क्राइसिस वाज ट्रूली सीरियस, द गवर्नमेंट शुड हैव वार्न्ड पीपल मच अर्लियर, नॉट wait through the elections, and the leaders should lead by example by reducing their own travel first. And they think that these warnings from the prime minister, government ministries, they show that the economy might be under major stress, in the upcoming months because of course, higher import cost, oil prices, weaker rupee, slowing economic activity, etc., etc. And he talks about how the seriousness of this crisis has been hidden from the people. So yeah, that's pretty much it. He also talks about farmers reducing chemical fertilizers and how that could hamper agriculture. Crop production can decline. फिर El Nino effect और भी देखने को मिल रहा है हमें. So that can also lead to food inflation, distress in rural households, and economic slowdown in general. तो अलग अलग पॉइंट्स को इन्होंने क्रिटिसाइज किया है इसी तरीके से. Then on the left hand side, you see the timing of the show caused notice to Vinesh Fogart is suspect. So Vinesh Fogart basically is returning to wrestling and wants to compete in the 2028 Summer Olympics. But the Wrestling Federation declared her ineligible for an upcoming ranking tournament. Just said eligibility ho paegi. And the reason given was that retired wrestlers must inform the Wrestling Federation, the world body basically, the UWW, United World Wrestling, 6 months before returning to competition. And Vinesh Fogart, as some of you might know, is one of India's very well-known wrestlers, was one of the major faces of the wrestler protest, which happened in 2023, is also a world championship bronze medalist, twice double championship medalist. And she had her whole controversy with the WFI chief Brij Bhushan Singh, where he was accused of harassment and all. फिर वही protest, legal battles, वो सारी चीजें चली थी. And the WFI also made accusations against her. There was that whole Paris Olympics, अगर आपको याद हो, weight वाली controversy. She was disqualified to appear in the final. फिर उसके बाद all doping allegations, doping testing, all of those things happened. And yeah, the article here essentially says that the timing of this denial is quite suspicious because most of these allegations involve incidents which are very old, and these issues are being raised again when she's trying to return to the forefront. And this basically shows a bias against her from the political and sports institutions in India, where they don't want her to make a comeback, maybe. So that is what is happening. Then what do we have here? New phase in India-Vietnam strategic partnership. This we'll do on the PPT. Noise pollution wala article we will discuss on the PPT. Decentralized solution for waste crisis. इसका हम just पढ़ लेते हैं. Solid waste management lies at the intersection of environment, sanitation, health, land use, urban and rural local administration, and is among the most localized functions of the governance. Solid waste management rules notified in super session of 2016 rules and brought into effect from 1st April are animated by legitimate and urgent purpose. But there's a deeper flaw in the new rules in the belief that centralization and over-regulation can cure administrative weakness. They're saying a system suited to resource-rich metropolis like Mumbai cannot be applied to Himalayan pilgrimage town with narrow roads and fragile slopes. Precisely for this reason, solid waste management requires a differentiated federal design. Essentially means कि हर स्टेट में अलग तरीके का डिजाइन होना चाहिए in discussion with the state and its ecosystem. Apple is paying for its promise of an AI overhaul of Siri to a smarter assistant. Okay. 3 arrested from UP, Bihar and Suvendu associate murder case. All right. ED arrest former Bengal minister. National Commission of Women flags toxic work culture and zero posh compliance at TCS. Okay. Government would see if schools teaching religion are charitable bodies or not. ऐसा Supreme Court का कहना है. This is quite interesting, and basically they're talking about constitutional provisions related to charitable and religious establishments and saying कि भाई क्या ये institutions secular हैं या are they giving religious instructions. तो 2 जज की बेंच थी, आई थिंक ये बेंच हेडेड बाय जस्टिस दीपांकर दत्ता. said the issue was within the domain of education ministry, and they sought the direction to declare that any institution which imparts religious instruction to promote any religion is covered under 26A and not under 19(1)(g) or 31 of the constitution. 26A is freedom of religion rights. 19(1)(g) we all know is freedom of expression. ठीक है. Saying the safety and security of children is paramount of the state's onus to prevent trafficking of children by unregistered and unrecognized institutions. ठीक है. 30 clause 1 allows minority religious communities to establish their educational institutions and impart secular and religious education. Alrighty, नीट का पेपर जो है लीक हो गया है, अब री एग्जाम होगा इसमें. एनटीए करवाता है ये पेपर, नेशनल टेस्टिंग एजेंसी. पता नहीं नीट का पेपर ही कैसे लीक हो जाता है. जेडब्ल्यू का नहीं होता, क्लैट का नहीं होता, इतने सारे गवर्नमेंट एग्जाम्स होते हैं उनका नहीं होता. Anyway, Suvendu orders rollout of central schemes in West Bengal. West Bengal काफी सारी central schemes को resist कर रहा था when TMC was in power, but now a lot of central schemes would be implemented in West Bengal as well. Trinamool flags murders, vandalism amid post-poll violence in West Bengal. CPIM defends Pinarayi Vijayan. Ahead of UAE meeting, Modi ji is going to meet the Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi and other BRICS ministers. New labor codes greatest setback for workers' rights since independence. VBG Ramji would take effect on 1st of July. इसकी PPT पे बात करेंगे थोड़ी सी. China may not join the alliance on conservation of big cats. India host कर रहा है इस alliance को. We discussed this already. 2 cheetahs released into the wild in Kuno National Park. They were brought from Botswana. सही है. All right. Modi ji calls for pause spend on travel abroad. Already seen sliding. सुनते तो हैं लोग मोदी जी की बात, ये तो देखा मैंने. Okay, nothing important here. Trump eyes deal as China gauges US decline. This is the US decline of proposal of Iran, I believe. Washington and Beijing announce visit of US president with trade, technology, and Taiwan on agenda. Both sides will explore AI cooperation, etc. ठीक है जी. Okay. Trump declares truce with Iran on massive life support. Pakistan summons Afghan diplomat over deadly attack. ठीक है. बाकी तो IPL is going on. कल फिर पंजाब हार गई यार, चौथा लगातार मैच हार गई पंजाब. बताओ ऐसा कैसे चलेगा. हाँ. Okay, nothing that significant. Lakshay and Sindhu shift focus to individual glory. Barcelona's Clásico victory seals its La Liga coronation. Vinesh Fogart insists she is eligible to compete. Okay, that's pretty much today's newspaper. Let's come back to the PPT, do the remaining articles. Do we need to read about the Jan Suraksha schemes? Not really in detail. Highlights par lena bas. India has messed up 3 times in a row. Yeah, that's what is sus. 38 judges bill may be important. Yes, that is important. We discussed this in class. NTA testing students' patience. Trump is declaring these truces and then restarting war to exploit a loophole in War Powers Act. Yes, that is one of the reasons for sure. Military operation lasting more than 60 days needs 2/3 approval from Congress. Rather than risk a vote, he can just end the operation and restart the timer. Yes. How do you suggest we research for Telegram quizzes? कैसे research करोगे उसके लिए? It's just the daily current affairs, the daily current affairs which you track. उसी से mostly questions आते हैं आपके. So maybe track any daily GK website, whichever you like. Funny videos 2313 says hi. Hello to you too. Defense ministers and other meetings for BRICS important for CLAT. Unless there is some outcome which comes from that meeting, which is significant, वो देख सकते हो बस, if there's something which is announced, वरना तो it's not that important. डिफेंस मिनिस्टर लेवल की मीटिंग्स होती हैं, फॉरेन मिनिस्टर्स लेवल की मीटिंग होती है, वो सारी उतनी इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है हमारे लिए. ठीक है, चलो पीपीटी पे डिस्कस कर लेते हैं अपने रिमेनिंग आर्टिकल्स. वी बी जी राम जी, दिस ऑफर्स स्ट्रॉन्गर गारंटी. 100 डेज से 125 डेज कर दिया गया है एम्प्लॉयमेंट. keeps the statutory and justiciable right to employment, removes procedural clauses that weaken unemployment allowance in practice. Then demand-based work would be provided with readiness. Demand still comes from workers, but advanced participatory village-level planning would ensure work is ready when people ask, instead of being denied due to unpreparedness. Then Gram Panchayats would remain primary planning and implementing authorities. Gram Sabhas would keep approval powers. Viksit Gram Panchayat plans are aggregated at higher levels to enable coordination, convergence, and visibility. Centre's share is set to rise to nearly 95,000 crores. Funding ratio has been changed, 60-40 हो गया. नॉर्थ ईस्ट और हिमालयन स्टेट्स जम्मू कश्मीर के लिए 90-10 है अभी भी. एंड शेयर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी होगी. रूल बेस्ड नॉर्मेटिव एलोकेशन इज बैलेंस्ड विद फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी फॉर डिजास्टर्स एंड स्पेशल रिलैक्सेशंस. Aligning with agricultural cycles, state can pre-notify up to 60 days in an year during peak sowing harvesting when works will not be undertaken. Notification can vary by district, block, or gram panchayat based on agroclimatic conditions, so the employment guarantee complements agriculture cycles. This reforms rural employment by preserving legal right to work while correcting weaknesses over years of implementation, expands entitlement, strengthens grievance redressal, improves planning, and links welfare with development goals. Then we have noise pollution. Threshold beyond which sustained exposure to air pressure can damage hearing is 85 decibels. Some cricket teams' matches have been rousing, and TVK's victory is unprecedented. The fact remains that noise pollution has become the most tolerated form of pollution in India. While even air pollution has finally forayed into the policy vocabulary as deleterious problem, from data from National Ambient Noise Monitoring Network show that more than 80% of recording stations breached the prescribed noise limits during both day and night in 2019 itself. While awareness of its ills remain low, district towns in the Hindi belt and northeast generate ambient sounds whose profiles no authority is measuring. Further, in towns with less healthy civic infrastructure and less responsive policing, loudspeaker permissions are unchecked and construction activity often runs throughout the night. Among the poor, the children often sleep with noise, while their parents often spend several hours in conditions that in any country with a functional health enforcement would attract criminal liability. शोर तो बहुत है अपने देश में, ये तो बात सही है. रोड पे खड़े जाओ तो शोर है, घर में बैठे हो तो भी शोर है, कंस्ट्रक्शन का शोर है, लाउड स्पीकर्स का शोर है, वेरी नॉइजी. फॉरेनर्स तो पागल हो जाते हैं इंडिया आते तो, too much chaotic for them. WHO has attributed 16% of disabling hearing loss in adults to occupational noise. India is estimated to have 6.3 crore people with some degree of impaired hearing. According to studies in noise-induced hearing loss in occupational settings, prevalence of impaired hearing ranges from 13% in Puducherry survey of 500 construction workers to a pooled estimate of 49% of a meta-analysis of industrial cohorts. European Environment Agency ranks noise as the second largest environmental cause for disability-adjusted life years lost in Europe, behind only air pollution. WHO synthesis attributed 16 lakh healthy lives years lost annually in Western Europe to traffic noise alone. This is because loud sounds disrupt sleep, elevate cortisol, stress levels in your blood, render endothelial dysfunction, impair cognition of children near airports and arterial roads. India also has more densely packed cities, building acoustics that are less sensitive to the need of mitigating sound, and of course, looser enforcement. If tolerance is not a feature of our political discourse, it remains a feature of how Indians react to pollution. One reason is noise pollution rules, which set zone-wise limits and silent zones, but are rarely enforced. Central Pollution Control Board only recently proposed financial penalties for violations, that too because much of the worst noise is generated by occasions that politicians would prefer not to police. The rules already accommodate religious and cultural observances. State government can permit nighttime loudspeaker use between 10 p.m. and midnight on festive occasions for up to 15 days a year. But public events routinely exceed decibel limits within permitted hours. Sound systems often plonked in residential lanes, sometimes even outside hospitals. And lastly, we have India Vietnam strategic partnership. The decision to elevate bilateral ties to an enhanced comprehensive strategic partnership, along with wide range of agreements spanning defense, tech, finance, energy, signals not merely incremental progress, but a qualitative shift in trajectory of the relationship. This comes at a time of heightened geopolitical flux. Flux means change in Indo-Pacific as Vietnam finds itself navigating an increasingly assertive China and South China Sea, while India continues to consolidate our Act East policy to a more security oriented Indo Pacific strategy. Defense cooperation, in particular, has emerged as the backbone of the partnership. In addition to symbolic actions like transfer of missile corvette like INS Kirpan, India has offered Vietnam finance lines, training assistance, maritime cooperation structures. In the current debate around possible shipment of BrahMos demonstrate a change in deterrence calculation in South China Sea from capacity building to capability enhancement. Economic ties, while less prominent historically, are now acquiring greater salience. Bilateral trade has crossed $16 billion, ambitious target of $25 billion by 2030, underscoring recognition of untapped potential. This is a move towards next-gen economic participation, shown by focus on supply chain resilience, rare earth collaboration, digital payment integration, and Vietnam's position as an ASEAN manufacturing powerhouse makes it an important partner for India's diversification in terms of scaling back reliance on supply chain focused on China. This partnership has important regional ramifications. First, India and Vietnam form an important component of minilateral balancing in Indo-Pacific. Together with Japan, Australia, and US, they contribute to a wider network of strategic alliance through the Quad and fight a rule-based maritime order, even if they are not legally included in US-led alliance structures. Common normative framework intended to combat unilateralism in South China Sea, the one power gaining dominance, is shown an explicit focus on joint statement of rule of law, peace, and stability. ASEAN is one initiative where Vietnam is a member. It's a regional organization of Southeast Asian countries that work to promote economic cooperation, political dialogue, and security. Created through the Bangkok Declaration in 1967 by Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, and Thailand. अब जो है 11 members हो गए हैं. These are on your screen. Motto is one vision, one identity, one community. Secretariat is Jakarta, Indonesia. India is a partner country. India is not a member country here. So that brings us to the end of the analysis and to vocabulary. The first word is hoodlum. Hoodlum मतलब होता है बदमाश, गुंडा, person who engages in crime and violence, hooligan or gangster. Some of the hoodlums beat their victims viciously before robbing them. Hooligan, thug, ruffian are synonyms. Next word is inculcate. Inculcate मतलब किसी आइडिया या इंस्ट्रक्शन को भर देना किसी के दिमाग में, an attitude, idea or habit by persistence instruction. Instill, implant, imbue. Not all schools manage to successfully inculcate a love for learning. Deprive, clear, and empty are antonyms. And the last word is derange. Derange मतलब पागल कर देना, cause someone to become insane, demented, unhinged. Being stranded at night at a lonely road would derange anyone. Relax, soothe, tranquilize are synonyms. With that, we come to the end of our discussion. What is chat saying? Main BRICS will be important. Yes, super important. Past week we have had many talks and agreements with many countries. Do we know what's important? कुछ ज़्यादा important होगा तो मैं आपको explicitly बता दूंगा. Just keep a tab on the highlights of things. बहुत ज़्यादा deeply important अभी कुछ नहीं हुआ है recently. We link it to current affairs. Focus more on those in which are repeatedly mentioned. Precisely, yes, that's correct. Derange कल से repeat हो गया क्या? ओह ऐसा है क्या? चलो एक नया वर्ड देता हूँ फिर आपको. Give you a new word. Wait a second. ये लो नया वर्ड. So this word is affability, the quality of having a friendly and good-natured manner. Affable, affability, friendliness, amiability, geniality, these are synonyms. Disagreeableness, unpleasantness are antonyms. He was beloved by the nation for his affability towards people from all walks of life. ठीक है, सही, खुश, मिल गए 3 words: affability, inculcate and hoodlum. Okay, चलो. My take on elections is that they are finally over. And I'm quite happy with how this political change in Tamil Nadu, TVK. Let's see what Vijay does. And I'm surprised at how BJP has swept West Bengal. So that would also be interesting to see. It's too soon to make comments on the new government side. Let's give it some time and see how they work. Maybe then we can decide what has happened is a good outcome or a bad outcome. Abhi to it's just a new outcome, and that is what we have discussed. So yeah, करेंगे बात. Should we make notes on elections? Not really, यार. बस आपको पता होना चाहिए कि कौन से स्टेट में कौन पावर में आया और कौन चीफ मिनिस्टर बना, उतना काफी है. दैट्स मोर देन इनफ. ठीक है, चलो. That's all for today's discussion, folks. Thank you for participating. I'll see you all tomorrow in another session. Start preparing modern history. We'll have the quiz on Friday. That's all for the day. AILET का सेशन कब बता दूंगा एक आध दिन में. ठीक है, that's all. Bye bye. Take care. Signing off. Good night.